Hi, I'm Steve from Inside GUC. You know, GUC normally does an awful lot during storms, but Hurricane Matthe was different. There were lots of changes along the way, which forced GUC to pivot, adapt, and overcome the elements as we continued to restore and provide services to our customers. We created this video to help our customers get an understanding of those moving parts during GUC's handling of Matthe and the resulting floods. Folks in all departments stepped out of their normal roles to help out the team. And while they were not specifically mentioned in the video, people in human resources, customer relations, and finance all helped, and especially the natural gas group, whose system fared well during the storm. They were instrumental with things like logistics, evacuating, sandbagging, and now the cleanup. Whatever was needed, it was a true team effort by all GUC employees. Monday, October 3rd, the management team meets to discuss Hurricane Matthe as it churns away in the Caribbean. The storm is too far away and moving too slowly to tell what, if anything, will happen to the Carolinas. Tony Cannon directs all departments to begin storm preparations, just in case. Tuesday, October 4th, GUC management gets a briefing from the National Weather Service. We're told to prepare for a direct hit as Greenville is now in Matthe's forecast path. Fortunately, GUC has already been preparing and is ahead of the curve. Wednesday, October 5th, the National Weather Service models begin curving the storm away from Greenville. The forecast is a good one for GUC and the community, but we continue with preparations anyway, just in case. Friday, October 7th, all preparations have been made and the team is ready. The management team meets and discusses the latest forecast. Since the forecast track calls for the storm to avoid the North Carolina coast, electric teams are put on standby to assist public power agencies in Florida if needed. A management team conference call is scheduled for early Saturday morning. During the Saturday, October 8th National Weather Service morning briefing, we're told that the storm is heading towards the Carolina shore, but the forecast still calls for it to curve back to the east and south, sparing eastern North Carolina. At this point, Greenville is told to expect 6 to 8 inches of rain, and the Tar River is expected to crest in the coming days at 19.9 feet. The management team holds a conference call where Tony Cannon tells the team that the GUC Emergency Operations Center will be activated at 4 p.m. At first, the calls are light, but as the winds pick up, trees begin falling, resulting in power outages. At 9:30, we had about 4,200 customers out, and that number grew to 8,500 by 10:30 at night. Our crews responded quickly, and by 4:30 Sunday morning, power had been restored to all but 1,500 customers, and the rest were restored later Sunday. But Saturday evening, Matthe drifted further north than expected. The rainfall forecast for inland areas doubled. The National Weather Service was now calling for 12 inches of rain, and the Tar River to crest at more than 27 feet, just 2 feet shy of the 29.7 feet record set by Hurricane Floyd. We were now working not just on storm restoration, but faced with having to evacuate our operations center for the first time since Hurricane Floyd. The management team implemented the emergency evacuation plan that was developed based on what we learned from Floyd. Staff worked late into the night and early morning hours to flesh out details and identify locations to move equipment, supplies, and offices. Those not directly working on restoration efforts would begin carrying out the plan. Details included relocating Station 1 to the 3rd floor of the main office building. Vehicles and some equipment would be parked in designated locations in the mall parking lot. Certain materials and equipment would be stored at the site of the future 3rd point of delivery substation on Mills Road. Operating department directors and support staff were to set up at our Red Banks facility, while the majority of the operations center would be relocated to the former Lowe's Food Building on Evans Street. By the time the sun came up on Sunday, all GUC personnel had been called in to help pack and move. If the forecast holds true, this will be the only day they can move equipment and supplies out of the Mumford Road facility. ECU's transit system shuttled employees between the main office and the operations center so that employees could relocate the GUC fleet and keep personal vehicles on higher ground. While most of our employees were busy with the relocation effort, some in our electric department worked with Duke Energy to ensure that the 230 East substation on Mumford Road would be able to provide power throughout the flood. They also came up with a plan to establish further redundancy through Dominion Power. To do this, they rebuilt a link to Dominion, one that had not been used since the flooding from Floyd, which would allow us to get power from Dominion should it be needed. Combined with the substation off McGregor Downs Road and running all available generation, staff was confident GUC could continue providing power to customers even if the 230 East site were to go down. By daybreak on Monday, October 10th, the river's rise was slowing and the forecast crest was lower. That slow rise allowed crews and staff to continue to pull equipment from the offices and then sandbag the doors to keep as much water out of the buildings as possible while crews were back to work removing as many supplies as they could. Warehouse items were loaded into trucks, items were pulled from the yard. Staff started preparing the old Lowe's food building in the Lindale Crossing Shopping Center with the hopes of accommodating most of the employees from the operations center. Logistics crews shifted from providing food during the storm to feeding everyone working on storm restoration and moving, even bringing food to the folks working at the water treatment and wastewater treatment plants by helicopter. Staff at the water treatment plant set up beds in the hallway since crews would be needed around the clock in case of flooding. Wastewater treatment plant staff prepared for flooding, watching as water levels crept up the effluent canal, which gave them the chance to use special effluent pumps, which allow the plant to continue to operate at full capacity even during a flood, when pushing out the effluent is difficult to do. Meanwhile, garage crews set up in White's International on US 11 in Ayden so that we could continue maintaining our fleet. By the end of the day, water was coming in the back fence of the yard and up through storm drains in front of the Mumford Road complex as well. Across the street, the water was creeping up under the 230 East POD substation. Fortunately, the substation continued to provide power to GUC's customers just as it was designed to do. Tuesday, October 11th, beautiful sunshine and blue skies above marked a stark contrast to the floodwaters still rising below. Again, the slow rise helped staff as crews were able to get into the operations center to remove supplies needed to help customers. Crews went in and raised furniture in buildings to help keep them from being ruined if waters did come in. Public information staff had been using social media, the website, and news releases, and then a Tuesday press conference appearance by Tony Cannon to keep the public informed and to dispel rumors that GUC was planning to shut down power or water. They also utilized the new Spotlight newsfeed to show pictures to employees who were wondering what was happening at Mumford Road. Staff continued their hard work, setting up office spaces at the Lowe's building. Electric and IT crews worked together to establish a connection to GUC's computer network Tuesday night, which allowed staff to set up computers in the building. Members of the community poured out their appreciation towards GUC by bringing water, ice, snacks, and food. From civic groups to retirees Kirby and Yvonne Boyd and their family, people showed up to feed the GUC employees. Wednesday the 12th, the waters continued to rise, getting into the garage, transformer shop, and load management buildings. Rising waters could not dampen the spirits of our employees, who continued to overcome the difficulties of working out of facilities that are not their normal ones. Waters were more than a mere inconvenience for wastewater crews, who were forced to pump water out of the north side pump station to keep providing wastewater services to people north of the river. By Friday the 14th, the river had crested and levels were holding steady. Most of our buildings avoided serious damage. A damage assessment team went into the facility on Sunday the 16th as waters were receding to begin the damage assessment and to plan staff's return to the facility. Crews were on site to begin the cleanup process on Monday the 17th, cutting out damaged walls and cleaning away what was left of the flood. As the floodwaters pulled out, staff started moving back in the very next day. Employees reorganized and restocked the store's warehouse and the yard as employees worked to rebuild the dispatch center in Station 1. Ever since the storm started, GUC has not stopped.